Hello everyone and welcome to another episode, and today something different from usual, as today I'm going to look at some detailed techniques of how to actually make the object in question rather than just showing each individual stage. And I have chosen this one to demonstrate, mostly because I think these are some of the better items available from Daiso, and also it's quite easy, so it shouldn't be too difficult to show. Now, before I begin, I should point out that these actually take between 2 and 4 hours to make, so I may have to break this into two separate videos, but if that happens, then it happens. However, as you can see, I have already opened the case and sorted out the pieces according to what they are. Now, this is something that I definitely recommend doing because it saves a lot of time. Additionally, it's always good to check the first stage of the instructions, which is by here, to check how much of the string you will need. Here it says 2 feet 11.43 inches. Now, I found with these English instructions, they always give feet and inches, which is difficult to measure in Japan because no tape measure uses them. So if you just come on over to the Japanese in a similar place, and you can see it says 90 centimeters. That is much easier to measure using Japanese tools. And as you may have noticed, I've already done it. Now, also in the instructions, you'll notice that the string itself is red and blue, and that is to help you remember where you are. So I have a red and blue pen, and I am going to colour the ends of this to make it easier to work with. I'll be right back. Ta-da! Well, it's quite hard to see here because this string or gut, as it's called in the instructions, is quite thin, but you can see it's slightly red and slightly blue. Now, in reality, you don't actually have to do both of them. If you do one red and leave one blank, then you can just follow it in the instructions as if it's blue, but we're going to do that, both of them, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, put that down. Now, part one. Yeah. These instructions do look a little bit more intimidating than they actually are, because, well, look at it. But it simply works in a kind of a spiral situation where you go in, and once you get in the rhythm, it's not that difficult. And the first thing you need to know is that the grey beads represent the first ones, which are by here. Now, this one is actually indicating that the nose is the first one to go on, and that is a very good reference point, because if you look at the picture, you always know where you started. And it is 3 white beads and 1 black one. This first stage is actually very important, and you have to make sure it is in the center of the string, or else you will run out near the end. So, let's put them on. Okay, so I've got the nose and 2 white beads placed in the center of the string. Doing this kind of helps to make sure it's in the middle. And the 4th bead is kind of what you use to lock it into position. So you put it on the blue one, like this. Then, using the red end, put it in the opposite way. It's not so easy to do when you're looking through a camera, so you get it like that. Pull it together, and there you are. There's your first stage done. Now, it's very good at this point to line up the ends, pull it down, just to make sure they are actually in the middle. And this series of putting 1 bead on the blue, 1 bead on the red, cross them over, 1 on the blue, 1 on the red, cross them over, is essentially how you start the head. And if we look at the instructions, we can see once, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You need to do this 11 times, just to be careful with the eye placement. This is where the blue and red comes in handy, because you can see the eyes are both on blue ones. Okay, so I'm going to do this 11 more times. Then we'll look at how to move from the outside ring into the inside ring, which is a little bit more difficult. I'll be right back. Ta-da! And they are all nicely done. Now this is the first row of the head, and to actually create the kind of circle shape, all you need to do is bring the red string here up through the first bead on this side and then cross it through the final bead of the blue one. And if you do this correctly, it should look something like this. Yay! You can kind of see the face kind of appearing now. You've got the eyes and the nose and, well, one line of the head. Now, to actually create the kind of conical pattern, it's the same kind of deal here. We've got the two pieces here. We add one bead to the one, cross them over. The only difference is, rather than adding a bead to both pieces, the bottom piece goes through the bead at the top of here. So, one bead on here, this one under there, they cross. Again, 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 till you do it all the way around. Now, obviously, if you do the same number of beads on the top as the bottom, it's not going to create a head, it's just going to create a cylinder. So, if we look at the instructions here, you can see each time the blue piece goes at the top, you add one, and the red one, you don't. So add one, don't, add one, don't, add one, etc., etc. This way it will create a kind of dome shape rather than a cylinder. And it should hopefully look something like this here. You can see it looks like he's wearing a bit of a crown now. I haven't put the final bead on yet because I wanted to show the instructions before I do this, and also there's a nice hole in the head. Now, this final stage, first most important bit, when you actually get all the way around back to the beginning, it's important to make sure that the correct color piece is going through, as here you can see it's red going back round through the very first one. And then these purple colored beads here are very important to remember, as they are the ones the ears connect to. So if you look at that very closely, it still follows the same theory where you put it through one here, 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 and each time don't add one, don't add one, add one, don't add one, add one, and finally once around the middle, tie it up and you're done. Now if you do plan on making this, I do recommend looking at these instructions quite closely, simply because getting the right color at the right point is very important. For example, if things come out upside down, it means you make a very large chin rather than a very large head, which has happened to me once before, and I had to restart everything. So always double check when you get all the way around, blue or red going through the final piece, and then just follow it around as it is. Okay, so I'm going to try doing these last pieces and let's see if it looks like a panda head. Well, I don't know if you could specifically call this a panda head, but it's got the right shape. It just needs a bit more black in the form of ears. But yes, it has formed a nice dome shape. Also, after putting them through the final few at the top there, just tied the old strings in two simple knots like that. Pull it tight, make sure all the beads are together. Once you've done that, I found, I don't know if you can see here, but I recolored the ends of the strings because I have to make the ears now, and it's very important to make sure you get the right color on the right ear. Additionally, something I should show in the instructions at this point, the ears, as indicated by these two black beads, also require this tiny gold star here, which is deceptively small, as this is actually the special star piece here used to attach it to the little bead thread. So this is very important to remember, and as you can see, it goes on the red one. Now, the final beads from the previous stage are the ones used to hold the ears in place. And as you can see, the red one goes around through the start, through the ear, back around. Blue one, same on the other side. Tie in a knot here and cut the strings. With some of these, with the larger ears, they do actually use a different string at this point. But this one, because the ears are only one bead, you don't need to cut it yet. Which is good, because measuring this string is a bit of a pain. So, I'm going to give this a go. Round the top, through the bead and back again. Round the top, through the bead and back again. Tighten a knot. Let's see what it looks like. And there you have it. The ears are attached, the eyes and the nose, with the star for hanging it on later. And this is essentially how you make the head. With the ears, yeah, it's just gone around, through, tie it. And now, when it comes to the last one where you cut it off, I do like to tie it 3 times, very simply, you know, like this. Pull it tight. And then you can cut them off as you feel. Also, on the knot itself, you can add some glue just to really give it a hard finish, and it won't come undone. But there you are. That is how you make the top of the head. Next stage, obviously, is the chin, the stuffing, and the body. But seeing as this video has already gone on for quite some time, I'll leave that one for part 2. So, look forward to that, and good luck!